The topic came up of how am I going to use this press, and I said I'd make a video, so here it is. This is a piece of 1/2-inch Baltic birch. I've already put the back veneer on, just made from 2 leaves, and the only reason that veneer has to go on the back is to make sure that the piece won't ever warp, since you want to have symmetrical coverage on both sides of the plywood. On the front, what I have here are 4 leaves that form a book match pattern. This is the back. The front is taped up right now. So we're going to glue this down and put it into the press. The joints are actually being drawn tight as we speak because the tape, which is moistened with water, gets tighter, which obviates the need for a press. So I have already toothed this surface with a fine saw and then blown the dust off. All we need at this point will be a brush for the glue, which is a liquid hide glue that I've made myself, a roller to distribute the glue, and a little bit of water to make things easier to apply. So we've got our roller. I'm going to just spray a little water on the substrate, write that in here. My substrate is marked so that I can try to match the angles to the back, which is not all that important, but it'll help make things a little nicer looking in the final product. Now this is not a hot hide glue, although I have heated it up in order to make things flow more smoothly. It does have a few little bits of goo in it, so I'm going to remove those. The reason I'm using a liquid hide glue is I have a much better chance of being able to get everything where I want it to be before applying the pressure, since this glue is not going to set up so quickly. The hot hide glue will set up literally in seconds, whereas the liquid version will set up in an hour. Makes it much easier to work with. So I'm just going to remove some of these bits of whatever that I've got in my glue. Now if you were using a glue that's not a homemade glue, then you probably wouldn't have to do this. But I don't want these things to affect the veneer. So I'll just get the grit out of here. Okay. coverage, certainly of the area that's going to be eventually used. I've cut this quite a bit too large for the eventual surface. We'll just use the roller to get everything evenly distributed. I want to have a relatively thin layer of glue rather than have it be thick and subject to squeeze out. The worst thing that would happen once I apply pressure would be that the squeeze out would end up breaking the joints. And the joints are only held together with tape, so. Now I've got my registration marks here. So, right about there. Looks good. One of the things that I remember was that some of my joints were tightening up to the point that they were overlapping each other, so I just want to make sure that I press them, all of them. I don't want to end up with an overlap. I don't want the overlap to get pressed into the final product. I've got a veneer hammer here, which I would normally use for hot hide glue, but I can use it now just to make sure. So it looks like we're doing pretty good. Now the next step is where we put it in the press. The press is homemade. What the press is basically just the one press screw, and there's a base plate which is made out of 2 layers of 1/2-inch plywood followed by 2 layers of 3/4-inch MDF, with the top layer being waxed. And then there's a platen that is made out of essentially the same material. And just to make sure that nothing sticks, although this may be overkill at this point, I'm going to put some wax paper underneath and over the work. And that right there is the crucial placement of the wax paper. And finally, the platen is placed on top. going to just examine it a little bit, make sure that I haven't put a kink in my wax paper, which I haven't. Now we press it.